Welcome back, Helldivers. Myelin Games back again, destroying any hype and giving honest opinions about stratagems and weapons in Helldivers. And today we're going to talk about the Airburst rocket launcher. It is currently available in the game. I actually missed this because this was a tweet on Friday night, and I usually have to be a responsible adult over the weekends and try to be a father. Anywho, they tweeted, major order, Helldivers, it's time to choose between liberating JuSt or Penta. Depending on your choice, you'll receive either the anti-tank mines or the Airburst rocket launcher. So if you go to these planets, you actually get these as included stratagems. Right now, we can actually only defend Penta, which seems a bit unfair. So we only get to play around with the Airburst rocket launcher. You get it as like an included stratagem. And depending on which planet we liberate first, that's the stratagem that will unlock. So right now it's looking like it's going to be the Airburst rocket launcher because we can't even get to the anti-tank mines on that planet yet. So you can go around and play with this weapon, and let's talk about how bad it is. The way that I rate weapons is I look at their intended use, their intended function, and then compare that to other weapons in that category. So I don't expect a pistol to take down a heavy tank, but I expect it to sit somewhere in the meta and have an intended use, intended function, and be comparable to something else in that area. And so now we need to look at what is the intended use of the Airburst rocket launcher. It is a long-range weapon to take out light, medium enemies. You shoot above them and you get an airburst, go figure, like a cluster bomb sort of effect. You have to hold a backpack with it, or you have to have a teammate hold the backpack for a quick reload. And it's not intended for heavy armor. You can't shoot down dropships. You can take out heavies, but it's not effective, and this is why I say it's not intended for that use. If you do get lucky with a cluster bomb and it hits the back of the grill like of a Hulk or a tank, it can destroy it. It does do some damage on the initial rocket on the grill of Hulks, but once again, this is not intended to take down heavy armor. This is a long-range, light, medium enemy destroyer. And it has some things that I would call additional bonuses. It can destroy factories if you either shoot the top grate or you shoot right through the front door. However, it can be inconsistent and you are going to need to have some range with it. You also nicely get your ammo back when you pick up loose supplies on the ground. So, does it work as intended? Does it do its role? Does it do its function? No. The proximity explosion is broken on it. So you shoot it above an enemy, it has like a proximity sensor, it goes off when it goes above the enemy and all the cluster mines come down. The thing is, multiple objects in the game currently trigger the explosion, not just enemies. For example, if you shoot it over the top of a drop pod, it blows up. And a lot of other drop pods do the same thing, like turrets, support weapons, and there are even just general things in the environment that will trigger the explosion that are not enemies. So what happens is you end up blowing yourself up a lot, or you blow your team up a lot. That's why you've probably seen lots of videos saying this is the greatest weapon and this is the greatest democratic weapon in Helldivers, taking out your teammates. With all that said, I don't even like the airburst function of it. It seems really inconsistent. I actually had way more success just shooting at the feet of a group of enemies. That seems more effective than shooting above the enemies. With all that being said though, in the right situations, this is incredibly effective at destroying patrols. I think it's probably the use case for it is you could basically shoot one rocket into a patrol and just wipe out the entire patrol. And it means that, you know, they won't call in reinforcements, they won't call in the ships, or the bugs won't call in their buggy friends to help out. It also works well with assaulting bases, like a closed-in area, shoot a rocket in there, watch everything go boom, when it's working. Now for the negatives, and the biggest negative in my mind is it takes up a backpack slot. When you do this, you miss out on a huge range of utility by carrying around ammo. It's not carrying around ammo is not doing anything for you, right? Especially when you got a long reload, or you con your friend into carrying around the ammo for you. You know, for example, you can't have a guard dog that's protecting you against light enemies that are charging at you, or you can't have a personal shield that's saving you from stalkers. or hunters. You can't have a ballistic shield that saves you from bots that are just shooting you. You can't have a supply backpack giving you and your whole team ammo. So I find it in general really difficult to justify support weapons that need a backpack slot just to function. And I think there's only a couple of really like niche use cases where they're very helpful. For example, the recoilless rockets is great for defending against automatons, and you've got lots of ships flying in and you have someone reloading, you can actually take out heaps of ships. Hey, that's pretty fun. That's like a nice case for it, nice use case for it. But in general, it's often, in my mind, a huge negative. On that topic, it obviously has a very slow reload because you need the backpack, and so you can't really get off more than one shot, and it's not gonna, if it doesn't completely wipe out all those light to medium enemies, you're gonna have to switch off, finish them off with another different weapon, and then go back to being a very slow reload. Or you're gonna have to beg a friend to follow you around the whole time to help reload the weapon. Of course, like I mentioned, another big negative is the proximity. Seems very finicky at the moment and is exploding on things that are not necessarily enemies, causing a lot of self-damage. And then finally, I think support weapons that can't deal with heavies need to be very, very effective in their role, meaning they need to absolutely destroy light to medium enemies. And this is where we then now compare this weapon to other things in that category. The first weapon that comes to mind is the Eruptor. This was a new weapon. It is a primary weapon. It looks like a sniper rifle, and it's a better, essentially anti-material rifle. It's good at taking out clusters of enemies. It doesn't take up a backpack slot. Probably has better ammo economy, and it's even better at taking out heavies. So I could not even see a reason to take out the Airburst when you could just equip the Eruptor, and it actually has better opportunities to make a build than the Airburst rocket launcher does. If we are talking about support weapons, the grenade launcher just outperforms this in every which way. It is better at and more ammo efficient at taking out small and medium enemies. If you get behind tanks and hulks, you can take them out very quickly as well. Once again, no backpack slot, leaves a lot of flexibility for other stratagems. The flamethrower too is also incredibly good at dealing with light and medium enemies, specifically with the bugs. It can also take down charges, so it has a really good use case there. And especially in a game where everything rushes at you, I find that, you know, close to medium range weapons seem to perform better than like these long range sniper weapons. Overall, if your support weapon is meant to be used against light and medium enemies, it needs to absolutely destroy. And right now, I would pick a flamethrower, grenade launcher, and even the Eruptor over the Airburst because they are just better options. And if you do choose the Airburst, you're still going to have to equip something else to deal with heavies, and you're going to be very dependent on your orbital strikes, and then you're going to be sitting on cooldowns all the time or yelling at your teammates to take down heavies. Now, can it be fixed? This is an interesting question because one of the community managers did say it is not the final iteration of this and it still could change to some extent. And this is what I would probably like to see as a change. Obviously, the proximity stuff needs to be fixed. I would prefer and hope that it will become a like hold left click or hold the fire button, and when you release, then it explodes, reducing some of the friendly fire and also adding a little bit of skill to like explode it behind heavies. So it won't be an automatic win against heavies, but if you can, you know, judge the distance correctly and you can explode that rocket behind an enemy and take out their grills and blow it up, I think that would actually be pretty useful. I think they could also probably bump up the amount of cluster bombs that comes out if they had that system in place where you can actually just hold left click or hold fire button and then let it go out a certain way and then release it. I think that would actually put it in a pretty good spot if they sort that out. But as it stands right now, I think it is complete and utter garbage. Right, if you enjoyed this video and like to support the channel, we can leave a comment. You can just leave the word Airburst rocket launcher. As usual, it's been a pleasure. This is Myelin Games. Peace.